Why damage doesn't matter. Well, as much as you think. Everyone's seen thumbnails of builds or red builds that are like, oh, 2 billion damage builds. And while that's cool and all, and they can be good at their job, most builds, even if they take into account accuracy, required resources, and things like that, forget an important aspect about this game. I think about it all the time. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where people die when they are killed.
And people die from smoking!
That's bad, and I know a lot of kobolds who smoke just to get a breath weapon. I think they're suboptimal. So to optimize and save kobold lives, we've teamed up with Fume. Flavored air is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking. Instead of getting a breath weapon of a black dragon that reeks of death, you'll get a nice cool one like a white dragon. Kobolds are very twitchy, especially if they have an addiction, so they made this device fun to fidget around with its magnetic magical bits, while you taste the flavor. It's high quality and quite fancy, and easy to bring anywhere like the mines. As for the flavors, there's tons. Fume sent me 12 different ones, and so far Raspberry Lemon is my favorite one. It smells like a pseudo-dragon. So what are you waiting for, kobolds? Over 500,000 people switched over to Fume to change their habits. Go to tryfume.com/packtactics or scan the QR code. For a limited time, if you order the Journey Pack and use the code PACKTACTICS in one word, you'll get a free Fume topper with the order. Now, back to the video. No, this video isn't about DM fudging HP or anything. I've already talked about why lying to your friends is suboptimal. This video is about the ultimate goal of playing D&D.
Having fun and making friends?
No, that's ridiculous, Gator. It's about winning. Well, maybe it's not the ultimate goal, but I think most people pride themselves in triumphing through hardship. Am I right? There's no shame in saying that. And to accomplish that, you must ensure your enemies don't kill you.
But Kobold! Doesn't damaging enemies mean they cannot kill you? Why is damage not important?
Damage is important, but it's only one aspect of surviving through encounters. The other aspect is your defenses. Let's say you can deal on average 4 damage per round, but you take 50 damage per round. Or alternatively, you deal 3 damage per round and take 10 damage per round. It's pretty clear which one is better, right? The one where you take 10 damage per round makes you survive for longer, which means you also do more damage eventually as the rounds play out. It's pretty obvious. There's no perfect way to measure the power of a character though. Tables are too random, but there is a good way to do it. And that is taking into account your damage dealt per damage taken. The higher the better. It's a way better way to measure the power of a character than just DPR by itself, like most people do. I'm sure you guys have heard of a baseline before. They don't take into account AC, or even the difference between melee and range, which is absurd. An easy example is a fighter with a longsword wearing plate versus a fighter with the same gear but with a shield. Everyone knows the fighter with the shield is better. Their damage is the same, but the one with the shield will take less damage on average. They will survive for longer. And if they survive for longer, they can potentially do more damage. That's really important to talk about. It also shows the power of control and range. Removing the enemy's ability to do something to you, aka making your damage taken to 0, makes your damage dealt per damage taken skyrocket. Even if your damage is low, if the enemy can't do anything to you, or your friends for a few rounds, or ever, you're going to win very safely. Baselines don't factor these things in at all, which makes them traps. They trick you into thinking things are good when they're not. They might be viable, but almost everything in the game is viable already. We're optimizers. We're not here for viability. We're out here for power. If I'm a warlock who just spams hypnotic pattern every encounter, that technically doesn't beat baselines. Obviously, mass shutdown is better than a baseline. Obviously, range is generally better than melee because of distance and reach and easy cover. Cover is the best defense in the entire game. And more than half the enemies in the game don't have a ranged attack. And when they do, their ranged attack is weaker than their melee attack. If you're super far away with a longbow, they usually can't do damage to you for a few rounds. That's obviously very good. You're fighting very safely. Your damage taken is 0 while they take damage. Baselines and dry DPR doesn't care about stuff like that. Now sure, damage dealt per damage taken is a bit vague though. For the DPR, the damage dealt part, there are some common assumptions with regard to enemy AC, and some less common assumptions for saving throws, but you can realistically make some pretty good showcases of a build in that regard. The damage taken part is not as clear as them, What to hit we assume, what damage on a hit, what DC for saving throws. Stuff like that isn't normally taken into account because, tables are just too random. You can potentially average out the offensive output of enemies, sure. I think that's totally possible. But most of the time, it can just be something to keep in the back of your head, which I recommend. It's just easier. Again, longsword fighter versus longsword fighter with a shield. This is very logical stuff that doesn't need to be complex. I view damage dealt per damage taken as the lifeblood of optimization. If you understand it, you'll know what you're looking for in power and how to use that power very effectively. And it will also keep you and your friends very safe. With damage dealt per damage taken, you're not just thinking about your offense, but also your defense, control, and range as well. Optimization is literally about everything. And this casts the widest net out of all the metrics out there. It's the best one. I've talked about this for years. This is a game where enemies do things to you. We should absolutely factor that in, am I right? End of video. Check out the Kobold and Gator Dice, link in the description. Thank you for watching. Bye bye!